What's going on, everybody? Jacob Verdin right here. Got my guy G Sports in the building. G, what's going on, dog?
What it do, man? Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras. And then I heard you cutting some nets down, man. Come on, tell us the news, bro. Let's celebrate a little bit.
Yeah, man. My guys over here at Tip of the Middle. We won a parish championship for the third year in a row. 21-0 in the last 3 years in the parish, and then we qualified for the state tournament in the University of Louisiana Monroe. Went down there, went undefeated, and won the whole thing, bro, against Lafayette Renaissance in the championship. We ended up winning the game 45-40. 37-3 overall. Won 5 tournaments this year. Just was a special season from a great group of kids. God just keep blessing me with a good group every year, bro. So, hell of a season, man. Proud of them kids, bro. It's bittersweet seeing it end.
Yo. Well, congrats, man. I'm clapping it up for you over here, dog. That's big. That's big. Got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. It's been a minute. Yesterday, we got a little bit of news breaking that we're going to touch on in the beginning. Trinidad Chambliss getting another year to ball. And then, LSU went to work in that portal, bro. Lane Kiffin, he was in that facility at 3 a.m. every damn night, it seemed. He doing his
Yep.
yoga. He doing his loaded tees. But he doing work in the portal, too. They got 3 of the top 5 prospects. We'll break down each of those as well. Talk a little bit about the draft. LSU's got 11 names going to the combine. And then tomorrow, game of the year, quite frankly, I think. LSU, South Carolina, 2 of the biggest teams in the SEC. Got a little bit of an L streak, though. We ain't going to talk about that one yet. Let's bring up Trinidad Chambliss stuff. So, like I said, grant another year eligibility in Mississippi court, mind you, G. It wasn't the NCAA. The NCAA don't have as much power as people think. That's why a lot of people are saying, like, oh, we need a college football commissioner, all this good stuff. I'll go out on a limb and say it. Like, yeah, that would help, but they need a commissioner of all sports. Because if you get a college football commissioner, G, now you're going to need to talk about basketball. Because I'll dial it back to when LSU had the problem with Will Wade, right? You got
Yep.
violations. You got to get rid of him. But then you got Kansas and Bill Self with the same situation going on. But that's all fine and dandy. So I guess I say the NCAA has a history of not giving even decisions across the board. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that they had to take it to an external party. But what are your thoughts on this and Chambliss getting another opportunity to ball?
The NCAA continues to show their inconsistency with their rules and this gray area, bro. I think back on the situation over there at Baylor with James Najee, right? With all these different college coaches coming out and saying, how in the hell is this dude eligible after he entered the NBA draft and got drafted 31st
True.
and he's able to come back to college? Trinidad Chambliss was at Ferris State for 3 years. He redshirted his first year. In his second year, he played in 2 games. Then he had to sit out the rest of the year for a respiratory issue he had going on. So he really technically only played 1 year at Ferris State. So in my mind, how is he not eligible for another year?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. He played in 2 games, bro, and he sat out the rest of the year for a respiratory issue his sophomore year. All right, I get it. He redshirted his freshman year. Okay, that's out the door. But he should have got a medical red shirt for that second year at Ferris State. And that's what I don't understand, where the NCAA ruled him ineligible. But I'm glad this judge got involved. It's a coincidence that he's an Ole Miss alum. Made it happen,
Thinker.
right? It's all about who you know. And,
Yep.
I know they're saying that the NCAA gonna appeal it, but I don't see it holding up, bro, because the sophomore year him sitting out because of the respiratory issue, I don't even see how the NCAA will get past that. So I'm glad this judge got involved, and I'm glad to see Trinidad Chambliss have an opportunity to come back to college.
Yeah, I agree, especially because when you see the details really start to emerge, Chambliss, when he was talking on the stand, and then when he was giving his whole account of everything, he was bringing up the fact that he had a conversation with the coach going into the year saying he's not playing. So he knows going into the year, before week 1 even comes, he's not going to be able to roll. And I
It's
told you,
freshman year.
that's the definition of a red shirt, in my opinion. And then, look, I brought this up, too, because I was like, man, I remember Cam Rising got a lot of time. Bro, there's 2 examples in college football right now. At Middle Tennessee, there's an offensive lineman that is in his 11th year. Like, bro, 11 years in college football. Montana has a linebacker that's in his 9th year. You got so many examples of people getting extra eligibility, extra this, extra that. I feel like it serves them well, especially because Trinidad's draft stock compared like next year after one whole full year again, I think it almost doubles. Like now you can consider him a first round talent. This year you're gonna have so many question marks, so many holes. I have a question though that I want to pick your brain about because a lot of people are asking. Okay, cool, he comes back, but he doesn't come back with Lane Kiffin, and he doesn't come back with Charlie. He's got a different play caller. What do you think about that side of it? You still got Cohen Lacey, so I mean, there's that. But do you think anything changes? I feel like he's still a game breaker personally, but it is something to say that the scheme could potentially slow some performance down. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. He doesn't strike me as a quarterback that has to be in one particular system. I mean, look what he did at Ferris State, bro. He won a national championship, put up hella numbers, comes in to Ole Miss, and I don't even think he came at mid-year. I think he came like in June, bro. He came late,
Right, Miss
and
Spring.
yeah, and it's like late in the spring. I don't even think he did spring. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But my point is, he was able to come in late like that, pick up on Lane's offense and Charlie's offense, and not get a whole lot of reps during fall camp. And then when Simmons went down, he's able to be inserted into the lineup and just come out with guns blazing. That's very impressive, bro. I think he's a very intelligent and cerebral player. And whatever system they about to implement over at Ole Miss, not forget the OC that Pete Gold ended up hiring, but I think he'll be inserted into that offense and he'll do well, bro. I think the key for Ole Miss is the weapons they're gonna have around him. I think he had a really good receiving core last year with Stribling and Caden Lee and Deuce Alexander and Watkins. He had a really good tight end with Wright. That's going to be the key, right? Are those weapons around him going to be able to put up the production that he had this past season? We know what we get from Kawan Lacey, right? But we got to remember, nobody was checking for Kawan Lacey coming into this past season. Everybody's going to be on notice about him this year. So we got to see how he goes into this third year of college with everybody knowing he's the guy. So, but I believe in Trinidad Chambliss, bro. I think he's a really, really good player. My only question is it smart for him to come back, right? Far as when you talk about the draft. Because I think in my mind, right, who's supposed to be the number one quarterback taken off the board this year?
Fernando. After that,
Fernando Mendoza. I think Trinidad Chambliss could have been the second quarterback taken off the board.
I could see that.
Right? Now you coming back next year, right? With people like Sam Levy, Arch Manning,
Yep. Lagway in
Lenore,
there.
Lenore Sellers getting another opportunity to showcase what he could do, right? You kind of playing Russian roulette with your draft stock next year. So in my opinion, if I was advising Trinidad Chambliss, I think he should have came out this year because I think he'd have been a second quarterback taken off the board.
Because you got the playoff run that you can use to kind of boost it up a little bit as well.
Yes, you gotta strike when the iron hot, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta strike it. You can't. I just don't see him being able to surpass what he did this past year. I mean, what he had 3,900 yards, 33 touchdowns, 3 picks. He had like a 71% completion rate, bro. He had a hell of a run in the playoffs. Like he had some miraculous plays. Like
22 touch, 3 picks. That's a crazy ratio, bro. That's 7 for every pick.
Yeah, I just don't know if he can do better than what he did this past year. I just don't know.
And then against Georgia, when he beats Georgia in the playoffs,
yeah, can he top that? I don't know. I don't know about that.
That's a good question. Especially, there's gonna be a lot of change. That's gonna be something to focus on because then you got Dante Moore too. I forgot about that name. Oregon.
Dante Moore is another one. Like he got a list of quarterbacks. He could mess around and lose out on $10 to $12 million from the NFL just because he decided to come back. Because now you put yourself in a position to be a third round pick now, mid-second. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, my 2 would have changed if he went to LSU for some reason, just because I feel like they're going to be in a situation where it's more elevated. But it's still that same risk, though, inherently, because you still are trying to, like, I'm not saying you double down and bet on yourself, but I don't know, G. It's like you're sitting at the poker table, dog. You already double your money. Just get up. Get up.
Yeah.
You're playing with house money, man. Get up. Get out of there.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but me personally, I would draft Trinidad Chambliss over Mendoza. That's just me. I know he won a Heisman. I know he won a national championship. I know he ran the table. But when you look at the arm talent, when you look at how he uses his legs, when you look at the cerebralness. I think Trinidad Chambliss would be a better NFL quarterback than Mendoza. I really really feel like that. Even though I still think that the Raiders, who got the number one pick, would pick Mendoza over Trinidad.
Yeah.
But if I was an NFL GM, I'm picking Trinidad Chambliss.
James got a lot of talent, bro. He shredded LSU with it. I ain't gonna lie. I saw that live, but I agree to a point where I think he performed well enough this year to be able to get that stamp. I want to know what he's going to do next year, though, especially with all that damn turnaround, man. Ole Miss is such like a hit or miss. Their portal rankings, I'm going to pop these up right here. We'll switch to the portal talk. Ole Miss was second. I think the numbers have adjusted. LSU ended with 40 commits. Ole Miss was around 30. What's your reaction to this? So first off, number one portal class, obviously. That's great. 3 of the top 5 prospects. Number one quarterback. Number one tackle. Number one linebacker. 40 commits altogether. A lot of new pieces, G. What you think about the pieces? Like that, I know they hit like Sam Levitt. That's a great addition. Seaton, great addition. Obviously, Princewell, TJ Dottery, our guy, huge get. What do you think about how many people though? 40 transfers. Is that worrisome? Is it expected with all the max exodus that you saw, or what's your thoughts on that part of it?
Well, I want to say he had about 28 transfers last year at Ole Miss. And I think the year before when he had Dart, he had like 20 plus transfers that year. Now I know 40 is a bit extreme. But they kind of had to do this, bro, because of you're losing Brian Kelly, a lot of guys hitting the portal. You kind of wanted to wean out some of these guys that's not gonna fit your culture. So I get it. I think the most important thing and why I think it could work is because you kept Blake Baker, you kept most of the defensive staff, right? And the main guys on defense are coming back, Whit Weeks, Tamarcus Cooley, DJ Pickett, guys like that played a lot. Don McKinley, guys that understands what Blake wants. So really on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think it's going to be that much of an adjustment. Mm-hmm. Offensively, that's where it's a lot of turnover, especially with the offensive line, right? The receiving core, that's going to be totally new. But if anybody can get that rolling in the right direction, is who? Charlie White and Lane Kiffin, right? And you got somebody like Sam Levitt coming on board, who I think will knock it out the park, who I think will be a Heisman Trophy candidate next year. I think that was the number one get out of everybody they got. Right, because when they was getting all these guys, I kept telling people like, bro, if they don't get a quarterback, ain't none of this shit gonna matter.
100%.
And for them to be able to sign, still, and deliver Sam Levitt, I think that puts LSU in a situation to where they're gonna be a top 5, top 7 team in the country to start the season.
And the way he would go get them too, dog. Like obviously the DeMond Williams situation kind of erupts. Sam gets on a plane, goes to Tennessee, murmurs of him maybe going to Miami. Bro, Lane Kiffin hopped on a PJ and chased after him on that visit. Did the same thing with Seaton in Atlanta when he was going to visit with Oregon. That's commitment, bro. And then in his press conference, he said something else that kind of stuck out to me, right? Because all these greats, Tom Brady, Daniel Cormier, I mean, just anybody that has done something, accomplished something, they always tell you that you got to prepare really hard. Shit, Kobe Bryant said the same thing too. To get something you've never gotten, you got to do something you've never done. Sometimes you got to push yourself to a point of exhaustion. And I feel like the depth pieces, the second strings, the third strings, sometimes you kind of lose sight of that, right, G? When you bring in a big quarterback, when you bring in a big tackle, you don't think about the backups that he's bringing in. 40 transfers, a lot of those pieces I think are coming in to alleviate some of those depth issues and also to just improve that level of play and practice. Because he was talking about this. Yeah, it's cool to go get the number one guys, but I'm not going to get the number one guys because he's number one. I'm going to get him because of what we need, what he'll bring to the team, but I'll go get a number 78 guy. I'm not afraid to go get someone that's a diamond in the rough or reach and take a shot on someone because it's better to have a process and to put a value on something rather than just go and chase every big fish and dumping money at an issue. So I think that's kind of where the 40 transfers came into play as well. I want to ask you about like a sleeper transfer potentially. Mine's TJ Dottery all the way. Whenever I saw he was coming, we obviously had him on the show. We got to meet him. And he's a great person, great teammate, but the energy, dog. Yeah, he's a great athlete, SEC leading tackler, got like 11 tackles in the playoffs in one game at one point. I think it was against Miami. all over the place, communicating, energy across the board. It's a culture thing too, though, because Lane Kiffin, I asked him about this and he was like, all right, I'm going to bring my strength coach over. And that kind of helps bring the energy a little bit. But bringing TJ, it brings that in the locker room. Like that brings that amongst the players. He's going to show them the standard. This is what we've been doing. I've been with him for a while and he's got that dog in him is what he brought up. I think out of all the transfers we brought in, TJ Dottery could be one of the biggest ones. I can't lie. I just feel it in him because he's going to help carry it over from the era where I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to call nobody out, but I'm just saying people were talking about the lack of physicality, right? People were talking about the trenches not really having that fire in them. I think this is how you can get back to that point.
Yeah, I definitely like TJ Dottery. You know, we interviewed him at SEC Media there in Atlanta, and he has all the makeup to be a culture guy in your locker room. But I want to touch on when you said that Lane's not afraid to go get somebody that's ranked 78 or that might not be a top ranked guy at this position. Man, look at what he did at Ole Miss, bro, with the transfers. Kawan Lacey was at Missouri. Kawan Lacey, I think he might have had like 200 yards his freshman year. Nobody was checking for Kawan Lacey like that, but Lane did a good job of evaluating him and knew that he could come in the system and thrive. And that's what he did. He was the number one in touchdowns in the SEC. I think number one in yards. So then you got somebody like Stribling. Nobody knew who Stribling was, the receiver, right? He balled last year. I think he ended the year with like 800 yards and about 7 or 8 tutties. He was like I think he might have been the best receiver this past year. Then when you talk about somebody like Trinidad Chambliss, right? He went got this dude from a Division II school, bro, and brought him to Ole Miss. I don't know too many coaches in the SEC or on a top tier level like that will go take a chance on a kid at a Division II level. Mm-hmm. He saw something in Trinidad Chambliss. So that just lets me know that Lane Kiffin is a great evaluator, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So if he's bringing you in, he knows that you can fit his system, and he sees certain traits in you that he knows that you're going to be a big-time player for him in his system. So all the guys that he brought in on offense, bro, I have no doubt in my mind he going to get production out of them.
I agree. I want to bring this up. I had to look it up because I saw him, Lane Kiffin. He tweeted this the other day. And this is just an eye-popping stat that kind of like peels back the curtains a little bit on his scheme, his impact, what he's done in his time in college football. He's had a lot of backs, but I'll read you some of the most producing backs under him. Reggie Bush, obviously, USC, Mr. Heisman. Yes, he's still a Heisman to me, G. Come on, man. We ain't sitting here.
They gave it back to him.
You're right. That's true. He's been a Heisman in my heart the whole time, though, bro. I never took it. 1,700 yards, 16 tuds, 200 attempts. Not bad. Matario Hardsty, 200 attempts, 1,300 yards, 13 tuds. Curtis McNeil, 145 attempts, 1,000 yards, 6 tuds. Derrick Henry, ever heard of him? 400 attempts, 2,200 yards, 28 tuds at Bama. Devin Singletary at FAU, 560 attempts, over 3,000 yards.
Got drafted too.
54 tuds, had 30 tuds in 1 year at FAU. Then you got Quinshon Judkins.
He's still playing in the NFL for the Giants.
Yes. Quinshon Judkins had 2 years over 1,100, 15 tuds both years, and the Kawan Lacey last year, 1,524 tuds. I say this to say, bro, when you got Reggie Bush, Derrick Henry, Devin Singletary, Quinshon Judkins, Kawan Lacey, all under your belt, you're doing something right. You're doing something right. I can't wait to see Harlan Berry and Caden Durham. Because another thing, I didn't even bring this up, G. You retained everybody. Trudez Green, DJ Pickett, PJ Willen, Deshaun Spears. You brought back Weston Davis, Durham, Berry, Trudez, Whit Weeks, of course. I mean, bruh, if you're making a list preseason on who do we have to keep, that's damn near everybody. I can't lie. They did work.
Whit Weeks.
Yeah, it's across the board. I've been excited.
I was glad to see him keep Micah Turner.
Yep. No, and when Durham kind of got froggy a little bit before Kawan was official, I was like, man, I could see him coming back a little bit. I'm glad that they were able to fix that one. Because, I mean, you never really know. Like, okay, yeah, his production this year might have not been the best, but, bro, this scheme is changing. We just rattled off 6 different running backs that have been able to produce at every level. You never know when your name will get called on this point. Let's look at the draft outlook, though. We talked pre-stream, 11 prospects. G, got a lot of names, if you will. Third most amongst every college. 4 wide receivers in the mix. That's the most out of any school. Wide receiver, you again. Come on, man. I gotta brag a little bit. I think in terms of people, I'm expecting to do really well. I've been praising Nussmeier all through the Senior Bowl. I thought he would have a good opportunity to be able to just show, hey, I still got it. I know there's question marks. I know there's been just questions all across the board. Health, What the hell's going on with the play call, and just all kind of things have been brought up with the Garrett Nussmeier situation. But with his time in the Senior Bowl, the couple of drives he had, I'm not counting a pick. It was a tip. Thought he impressed and did really well. Chris Hilton, somebody I got to bring up as well. He left it all out there, dog. Only athlete to ever do 4 draft bowls. He did the Hula, All American, East West Shrine, Senior Bowl. That's crazy. I mean, he kind of had to though, G, because it's like you don't have too much production to back up what you did in college. So now you kind of got to show off the speed. Now you got to show off things like this, the personality, the work ethic, all that good stuff. Last two I'm going to talk about. Varian Brown. I've loved him all year. I know he's kind of been put in that bracket of a speedster or like a specialist, but then he comes to LSU and he leads in receptions and he leads in receiving yards. And sure, it's not the prettiest offense, might be one of the worst offenses, but it's just the fact that in that year when he was taking a shot on himself, I think it paid off. And I think he could be a wide receiver that stock could drastically improve. Him and Hilton just got breakaway speed, bro. If they run a 4.340 at this point, you're jumping up the board. You know what I mean? Speed kills. And lastly, AJ Halsey. I love him. I think he's, quite frankly, maybe the biggest sleeper, in my opinion. I think he was all over all year. I love him. I think he just got to test well. What's your thoughts on this year's class? Any sleepers? Anybody you watch him?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Mansour Delaney is going to be a first round pick unless he
Yep.
tests poorly,
Right.
right? So I would imagine he's going to go in the top 20, top 25. I know he's going to interview pretty good. You know, the production speaks for itself. What he did at LSU, even
Yep.
going back to his days at Virginia Tech. And I think you're right. I think AJ Halsey will be the next highest drafted player from LSU in this year's draft, bro. I think his and him being so damn instinctive, so smart, willing to come up and lay that pop and tackle.
Yep.
Uh, I think a lot of NFL teams gonna like him. I think what's gonna hurt AJ from going higher than he probably could have went is the way he gonna test it. I don't anticipate him testing off the charts, right? So I can see AJ probably going in like that third round, bro. And but once he gets on an NFL team, bro, I think he gonna knock it out the park.
Yep.
I think the sleeper of this draft to me in this class, I probably would say Aaron. I mean Aaron Anderson, and some people might not call it a sleeper, but I think it is because Aaron is somebody that he was the leading receiver for as yards wise the year before last, right? And he came back this year, and everybody thought he was going to be, a wide receiver one type of player, right? But just the injuries and him in and out the lineup, he just didn't get that this year. You saw flashes here and there, but you
Yep.
just didn't see him play consistently throughout the whole season. And um, I can see his draft stock really, really falling. I think he's going to test really, really well, but I can see him falling to like the fifth round, fourth, fifth round, right? But I think if Aaron stays healthy, if he stays healthy, when he gets to training camp, he gonna knock it out the park. I could see him really wowing the coaching staff, and when he gets his opportunity, he puts everybody on notice that look, this is the Aaron Anderson from the year before last, right? I'm healthy, I'm fresh. I've been taking care of my body. I could be a top 3 receiver on any NFL roster when I'm healthy, and I think he's gonna display that.
Yeah, the thing, like a knock that a lot of people who don't like are not familiar with Aaron Anderson, because I was given like a little preview of the Senior Bowl a few weeks ago, and the thing that I was saying would potentially prohibit him would be the size naturally. But then he goes out to the Senior Bowl, bro. He creating so much space. They got people one-on-one drills, and he's sitting here shifting them, making them slide all the way to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And there
They
was
were trying to
even
get their hands on it.
I was about to say there was even a play where they tried to press him and he pushed them off of him. And I'm like, all right, look, so you playing bigger than the frame. The
Yeah.
speed's obviously explosive and will break you away. And then I did some research and look at Tank Dell, Tyree Hill, Tyler Lockett. You do got a lot of examples today of guys
Jalen
that are
Waddle.
smaller, yep, that you can just get out in space and have them wreak
Shaheed.
havoc.
Shaheed
Shaheed,
from that played with the Saints, now he with the Seahawks.
now you
Like,
got Dan Barney.
yeah, I tell people all the time now, over the last 4 to 5 years, things have changed in the NFL and in college football. It's a great time to be small because everybody's trying to get these little dynamic guys in space, get them matched up with a linebacker or a safety and creating,
Mhm.
mismatches. And now, God, people trying to do these gadget plays with these speed sweeps and tunnel screens and things of that nature. Motioning to the backfield, like they're doing a lot of different dynamic things these days with these smaller players, and it's creating opportunities for them. So
Yep.
I think it's a great time to be small, and I just think if Aaron stays healthy, he gonna have a really really good camp, and I can see him being a top 3 receiver on any NFL roster.
No, I agree. I agree. We got a lot of talented wide receivers over there, bro. You got Chris, you got Aaron, you got Barian, and then is it Nick Anderson? No,
No,
who's the
no,
fourth wide receiver?
that's in the draft.
Zay Thomas.
Zevion,
Yep.
Zevion.
I was forgetting the fourth one. My bad, ZT. My bad.
And
But
Look,
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, Zevion is somebody that I think is really underrated too. I think he displayed this year that he can be a pure receiver,
yep.
right? Um, we know what he could do in the special teams game. I don't know if he's gonna get drafted. I hope he does, but I think if he gets into somebody's camp and goes to the right situation, he could put on display on how he is a pure receiver, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that this year from Zevion. That was a question mark coming into this year. Is he just a gadget guy and a special teams guy? Well, I think he showed this year that he could run routes, that he has sure hands, right? But the offense, the way they was calling plays, and just the disconnect between Joe Sloan and Nuss being not healthy, I think that deterred Zevion from really showing what he could do. But he
Yep.
showed flashes that he could be a pure receiver. So Zevion is another person to look out for.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think in terms of the person that I think stock could change the most, I'll put it on Chris Hilton just because of that 40, bro. Because I think Chris, look, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I think he's got a lot of potential. I just think he's on the brink of being undrafted too because of the lack of production. But if you can test off the charts, you're going to sneak into that. I would say fifth round range as well because it's tough to not take a shot at that point in the draft on something like that. You done got everything important out the way. I mean, some
Yeah.
teams, yeah, you got more holes, but it's like that range, those last 2 to 3 rounds, that's sleeper time, baby.
Chris is another one that, had a lot of durability issues in college. And I think that's something that might be a knock as he gets evaluated properly by the league.
Yeah,
Um,
it was something every year. I feel like.
yeah, every year, he was dealing with some type of injury. So but again, like you just said, if he's healthy, he could display that speed, and that's a game changer.
For sure, most definitely. No, it'll be interesting. I'm excited for the pro day though. It's gonna be it's gonna sneak up on us before we even know it. All right, G. Let's close it off with game of the year tomorrow. I had to put this picture. Come on, man. Full Wiley and Flage now. Like how times have changed. It's full circle, man. This is the revenge game, if you will. I don't want to put too much hype on it. We talked to Joe Schwartz on Wednesday. He talked about the mindset going into the game, right? He was saying they want to make sure that it doesn't get too big for them. I want you to put your coaching cap on. How would you talk to your team pregame in this moment? College game days here. G, this is a nationally televised game. You're playing on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Normally, that's the men's basketball day. Now, women, prime time, 7:30, ABC. What you telling them in the locker room?
As cliche as it might sound, bro, you got to treat it like another game. This is going to be more mental than physical on Saturday, right? I think this is one of no, I ain't gonna say one of. I think this is the most talented team that Kim Mulkey has had since she's been at LSU, and this includes the team that won the national championship with
Yep.
Angel Reese,
It's
right?
deep, bro.
Yeah, they could go 10, 11 deep in their bench, especially when Gilbert not hurt,
Yep.
right? She could go in that bench, bro. So, but South Carolina came too.
Yep.
They play a lot of players. The thing is, bro, and if I'm Kim Monk, I'm not sharing this with your team because you don't want them to overthink it. But if they lose this game on tomorrow, bro, it's like it's about your psyche, right? And whether they want to admit it or not, you lose this game tomorrow, it starts creeping in your mind that we can't beat these people.
Are we like that?
We might be a really good program. We might be a top 5 team in the country, but we just not on the level of South Carolina. That starts creeping in your mind, bro, when this keeps happening over and over and over.
Yeah.
And not only that, since Kim Morgan has been at LSU, I think they might only had maybe 2 close games. All the other losses, bro, they've been losing these games by 10 points or less.
Yeah, it slips
And
away.
I just think that South Carolina has a psyche advantage over LSU, right? But as a coach, you can't allow your team to know you feel that way
Mm-hmm.
because now they're gonna go into this game tomorrow night pressing, right? You want to have the same routine. You don't want to overthink this situation on tomorrow. But the key gonna be is for Wiley. Is she gonna play outside of herself? Is she gonna try to prove a point to her former team and her former coach that look, this the role I should have had when I was with you guys, right? That's something to monitor tomorrow night when they go against South Carolina, bro. For Wiley cannot get out there and start playing like it's just about her.
Right.
And uh I'm sure Kim Morgan is gonna have that conversation with her, but I gotta see it tomorrow. I gotta see if she gonna let the game come to her, right? Flagey, Michaela Williams, they gotta be dudes tomorrow. They gotta be that guy tomorrow if they want to beat South Carolina. Cause I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. With Edwards and Tessa, the way she's shooting the ball, Tessa shooting the ball 47% from three, bro. Number 10.
That's
She's
almost a
shooting the
coin flip.
ball 47% from three.
That's better
That
than most
is
teams, bro.
that is mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling. And look, let's be honest right now. And I know LSU fans don't want to hear this. South Carolina is the better team. Make no mistake about it. If LSU play their best game and South Carolina play their best game, South Carolina gonna win the game. LSU gonna have to be able to defend man to man tomorrow if they want to win this game.
Yep.
If you think you're gonna sit in the zone and try to just keep changing defenses on South Carolina tomorrow and you're gonna win this game, it ain't gonna happen. And they're gonna have to get at some point in that second half, they're gonna have to sit down and guard the basketball, contain dribble penetration, and stop allowing them to get in the paint and then kick it to these shooters and be able to knock shots down. And the second thing is they can't allow all these second chance points,
Nah.
right? South Carolina is a really, really good rebounding team. They have more size than LSU, even though LSU has bulked up their size this year,
Mm-hmm.
but South Carolina has more size. So I think that's the two keys tomorrow, man. LSU gonna have to be able to guard man to man and keep contain dribble penetration, and they got to win the rebounding battle. They do that, I think they be in position to win the game. And Michaela and Flaugy got to be dudes. They got to be dudes.
I'm gonna throw one more in there too. Got to cut the turnovers because it's been kind of creeping up. You got a couple of players getting 3 to 4 turnovers a game, and it
For
happens,
Wiley.
man. It happens, and
For
I'm not
Wiley,
trying
bro.
to I'm not trying to blow it out of proportion. But as to your point, second chance points, G, or points in the transition, they add up and they sneak up on you. You know what I mean? Those moments are you're gonna look back at the box score and reflect and say, we had it here. It's those moments that I think hide and don't really get talked about enough in that regard. They've
And
cleaned up
and and
the
and a,
shooting, but
and a part of that is like a player like For Wiley. I don't want to seem like I'm picking on her, but she's a high risk, high reward type of basketball player. When it's going good, it's going hella good. But when it's going bad, she has some really, really bad turnovers that really make you scratch your head.
Mhm.
So she got to play within herself tomorrow, bro. She got to let the game come to her.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm a little worried too. I hope it's close. I think,
Them
yeah,
being at home, I don't see South Carolina winning the game by double digits. I
no.
don't see it. Not at home.
This statistic it just messes with me internally. You want to talk about the psyche, G? That's true because listen to this from a psyche standpoint. South Carolina has won 17 in a row over LSU. We looked up how long that dates back to 2012. My guy, 2012, 14 years ago. G, 14 years ago. Was the last time LSU got a victory over them. Now, obviously, it's far removed from both coaches, Dawn and Kim. They were all doing their own thing, not at those universities. It's just to say, man, streak is a streak is a streak. You know that's maybe not in the back of their mind, but it's gonna be a narrative going into this. I can't lie
Yeah.
to you. I don't know. I
Now,
think
I ain't gonna lie. I probably would play mind games with my team, and I probably would put that stat somewhere in the locker room.
bulletin board material.
Yeah, I probably would do that.
Snap this
I
shit.
wouldn't. I wouldn't like personally just keep bringing it up every day, leading up to the game. But I would just have it hanging around in the locker room.
Hey, they do. Some things might be all good things gonna turn in. You never know. They might be able to snap the streak. Pack the PMAC, man. They can have a blackout game, G. It'll be sold out crowd tomorrow.
Yeah,
And they
can't wait
wearing
to
black
watch it.
uniforms.
They are.
Support. Yes. Yep. Joe said they wore them in Georgia, but apparently, like Nike gave them new uniforms this year, right? They gave them a bunch of different new combinations: home, away, alternates, all this good stuff. And 5 schools, I don't know all of them. I know UConn's another one of them, but 5 schools got a black uni this year. And it took a little bit to get LSU convinced to let them wear them, but I mean, this is no time like the present right here tomorrow. So I'm interested to see. That's the number one takeaway I got pregame. How do black unis look? What's the drip like? Respect the
All
drip.
black is a funeral.
Yeah.
Somebody gotta die.
They preparing, brother. They preparing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll be breaking it down. Hopefully good news, G. I'm about to get out of here, though. Appreciate you for joining, G. Good seeing you, man. Thank you to everybody for joining in the chat. BK, Dame, and Joey. We got a bunch of people typing on, man. All right. Y'all have a good weekend. G, appreciate your time, my guy. We out of here.